FujiReview.com. What I have for you today isn't so much as a review as maybe some musings or observations, or I don't know if you want to call it a rant, whatever, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the Fuji X-Pro 1 and sort of how it sits in the market, and a lot of the negative reviews and stuff around it. I wanted to, I don't even know if I want to touch on the negative. I just want to tell you my impressions about the camera. And I'm a guy who likes rangefinders, and with my Leica M6, just wanted to talk about this stuff a little bit. So, long and short of it is the Fuji X-Pro 1 has some what people would call as shortcomings. And, in some ways, when you're relating it from one thing to another, yeah, they are shortcomings. I don't see them as such. It is a little slower focusing than let's say, the Olympus OMD, than the NEX-7 that I have. But with this camera, I'll back up a little bit. What I'm going to say is the person that the X-Pro 1 is for, I believe, is somebody who is a film camera enthusiast, somebody who likes to shoot film, but they want that digital workflow and still being able to sort of have that rangefinder feel. It's not a rangefinder camera per se, it's a view camera it's a rangefinder style camera. So you look through the viewfinder and you see the outside world. All rangefinder camera, if you wanted to be really technical about it, is that it's a rangefinder focusing system, which the Leica has, the X-Pro 1 does not. But the format is what I think most people, when they're talking about rangefinders, is really what they're talking about. They may be talking about the focus, but I think what I was certainly looking for is the feel of the rangefinder. I don't necessarily care about if the focus is done a particular way rather than if it's in focus. I don't really, as long as it's in focus, that's all I'm concerned about. So, like I said, this is a camera for people who like film, who like rangefinder style cameras, like the format, and like the feel of the camera, and they like the sort of the way a rangefinder works and moves, and how you work with the camera. The camera, the image quality on this camera, in my opinion, is just phenomenal. I love the lenses. I love the bokeh. I mean, there are people who, it's all a matter of taste, and to me, I'm very happy with it. Are there technically better cameras out there? Absolutely. But not a lot of cameras out there where I feel like, this is a camera I'm really, happy with shooting. I love shooting with my Leica. Technically, it's completely outdated. Film is, what a lot of people would say is dying. But, I still see a lot of life in film, and, my saying is film lives. I'm going to shoot film as long as I can. But sometimes you do want a digital workflow, and sometimes you want to just go out and take pictures and come home and put them up on the web and share them with your friends and not have to worry about processing and scanning and stuff like that. Maybe I don't want to spend the money on doing that. But so the X-Pro 1 is here, and I really enjoy it. The lenses, I think, from Fuji are great. I think, if you're going to relate this to sort of an older film camera, sort of in the same market, I would say this closely relates to the Contax G1 or G2 series. Contax came out with, a rangefinder style camera. It's a viewfinder, but it does rangefinder focusing, or it didn't focus the same as Leica, and the long and short of it is. And they came out with their own line of lenses, and that's what Fuji did. They sort of said, we're going to do our interpretation of it. It's a Japanese interpretation of a German camera, and it was what I believe. The stuff is in the right spot. Shutter speed is in the right spot. The shutter is in the right spot. Exposure compensation is right there, which is really nice. There's a lot of nice features on this camera. As far as comparing it to a Leica M6, size-wise, it's pretty close, to be honest. The only differences the primary difference is in the height. And actually, I have the grip on here, so this might make a difference as far as the height is concerned. But they're actually pretty close. I'm going to take my grip off here. So, yeah, it's maybe, 1/8 of an inch, 2/8 of an inch difference. They're actually pretty close. When you put the grip on the X-Pro 1, it definitely boosts it up a lot and makes it a bigger camera. I have really big hands, so I don't mind the larger size, and I do have the grip on the side, which I really enjoy, and it actually makes it a lot more comfortable for me. But the thickness of the camera, they're about the same. The Fuji might be slightly thicker. You have the screen on the back and such. The length of the camera from here to here is, I think, identical. And the weight is very similar, to be honest. The Leica, I think, tiny bit heavier. You know, so it's a little lighter camera, and you know, people were complaining that the X-Pro one was too light, and then if they put any more weight into it, I think they said, oh, the X-Pro one, you know, it's just way too heavy. Who wants to lug that around? You're never going to please everybody, but I think what I think the people that Fuji tried to please are film camera users and people who like film cameras, like rangefinders, and they wanted to cater to that market, and I think they did a great job. Could they have done a little bit better on the autofocus? Probably. Are there ways to get around, you know, any autofocus issues you have? Absolutely. It's fine for me. I'm not shooting sports. I'm not shooting, you know, high-speed stuff. If I need that, I can go to an SLR, a digital SLR, or something faster. You got to use the right tool for the right job, or the right tool for the job, actually. You know, and that really is what it comes down to. These are tools, and different cameras do different things better than other cameras. You know, if you're trying to be like, you know, inconspicuous and, you know, a little, you know, more subtle and quiet, you know, your big, you know, D4 or whatever is not going to blend in as well as you know, the X-Pro 1. They're different tools for a different job. So, you know, keep that in mind. People were expecting a lot of stuff out of the X-Pro 1. They were expecting it to replace digital SLRs. That's not what it's for. It's just not. You can try and will it and wish it to be true. It's just not going to happen. It's a whole different camera of its own. It's in the same market and sort of gives people who want, you know, Leicas, you know, maybe a digital, you know, the M9 or whatever, it gives them somewhere to go and something to work with. You know, again, technically, it's not the best thing on the planet. What you're viewing this right now, what I'm recording this with is my Sony NEX-7, which is technically a much better camera. Has a lot more features, a lot more bells and whistles, and you know, it does a lot of stuff great. But you know, when I shoot with that camera, I don't get the same feeling, and I don't get the same kind of, I get a lot of enjoyment out of it, but I don't get the same kind of enjoyment I get out of the X-Pro 1. I get a whole different feel shooting with the NEX-7. I'm going to use the NEX-7 as sort of like my point and shoot, and you know, if I want to take a really good picture, I can do it. But it's not a camera where I feel like, you know, I'm going to go out and just be creative with this camera. But that's just for me. It doesn't mean that it's not possible to do with that camera. It absolutely is. NEX-7 is spectacular. But this gives me more of this feel, which is what I was looking for in a digital camera, and it does it very well. I'm very pleased with it. So to all you naysayers on the X-Pro 1, yeah, go ahead, say nay, don't buy one. The only other, you know, thing I have is I think the price was a little high, to be honest, for anything. I mean, it's an expensive camera. I still bought it. I still have it, so I'm not sending it back. So maybe it wasn't too much. Maybe I'm just ridiculous and put my money in the wrong places. But for me, it was worth it. I'm keeping it. I have no plan on selling it. However, that is my, you know, one of the big drawbacks for me with digital is they are sort of consumables, and there's more of a disposable nature towards them. But you know what? I think I'll be happy with the images coming out of this for a long time, and I'm never selling this. So I've already willed it to my daughter. So hopefully, you know, when she's old enough to appreciate it, she'll get it. But you know, this is an heirloom, and this is a tool. They're both tools, but I'm keeping this forever. So. Anyway, that's about it. Again, I highly recommend the X-Pro 1. If you're a film guy, you want a digital film camera, I think this is a good way to go. Try it out, test it. If it works for you, awesome. If it doesn't work for you, awesome. Don't be tied to anything too much. Don't be tied to a brand. Don't be tied to a particular way of shooting. Don't be tied to anything. If something works for you, use it. I'm not a Canon guy or a Nikon guy. I don't really care. It's the camera I like. The only reason I would stick with Canon or Nikon is because I have money invested in the lenses. or into other stuff, and I just happen, or I'm just used to it and I don't just feel like changing. They're all good. It's what satisfies you and what is the catalyst for you to go out and take pictures and be productive and take the pictures you want to take, and what inspires you to be creative. These are the tools for me. If it works for you, awesome. If it doesn't, I don't know what to tell you, but I am going to be reviewing some other stuff, some other digital stuff, we're going to talk a little bit more about some more technical things and how-tos and stuff like that and coming up. So stay tuned, guys, and I appreciate your patience. I've been through a bunch of stuff as far as technical problems with my computer as far as getting these videos up, but like I said, I'm trying to be more consistent with these. So stick with us. Old Cam Review, some other exciting news coming up hopefully in the next couple of months. But anyway, so that's it. Brian, oldcamreview.com. Leica M6 versus X-Pro 1, I guess. I don't know. I'd say it's a tie. I don't know. Whatever, you decide. Let me know what you think. Post in the comments. Anyway, constructive criticism, always appreciated. Thanks, guys. Brian, oldcamreview.com. Go shooting.